Okay, so this will be a feedback slash critique for Rambo the Goat. I don't know if I've given you feedback before. I'm losing my mind, so I have no idea anything anymore. You might know me as Shazam on the Discords, or what am I here? Captain Schmuck on Armor King. Hey man, so I am by no means a Tekken professional. I am just someone who really enjoys Tekken, play a lot of Tekken, study a lot of Tekken, think a lot about Tekken, talk a lot about Tekken, right? I am not here to tell you, hey, if you follow what I say, you will be 100% proven to be, God's gift to whatever. All I'm saying is, based on my experiences playing, talking, learning Tekken, here are things that I see you can improve on. Here are things that, food for thought, right? At the end of the day, if it helps, I'm happy. It is by no means gospel. It's just kind of like, hey, here's my 2 cents, right? Okay, so let's get into it.
This matchup is interesting.
All right, yeah. So this is the second match. The first match. So I watched the first match, and there's not really much I can really say, right? A lot of it was just you do not know this matchup, right? And you just need to. No amount of critique, no amount of feedback can just tell you, hey, this is what you should do against Miguel at the start. Because the thing about it is that we can tell you generic advice, but if you don't have that experience and practice of what to look for, right, it's not going to mean anything, right? We'll just be shouting stuff at you, being like, duck down forward 1-1, duck down forward 1-1, blah, 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 and all this, right? But you need that experience, and you yourself have to become familiar with the visual indicators, right? What are his moves? What do they do on block, etc., etc., etc. Obviously, there's 50 characters in this game, and it's not easy to just go, oh yeah, just lab the matchup, right? We all have our own lives. We only have so much time. Only a few of us can really dedicate the time and energy necessary to do all this shit and play at a competitive level, right? But at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. You either put in the time and see the results, or you don't. Now, let's say you are restricted on time, right? Let's say, we all have lives. I have a job. And some people go to school, right? Or they just want to do other things. They can't dedicate their lives fully to Tekken, right? I would recommend focusing on the gimmicks first, right? You're not playing a real Miguel yet. This guy immediately smelled blood in the water, saw that he could knowledge check you, and then knowledge check the shit out of you, right? So before you can even begin entering that layer of like, how do I fight a real Miguel? You need to make sure you can pass the knowledge check test first. That goes for any character, right? Some characters are a lot more excruciating to go through all the knowledge checks than others, Ling, Lei, Marduk, all those crazy Oki characters, Lab Character, Yoshi, right? But there are, Miguel's probably one of the easier ones. You just learn some few gimmicks, and then you can force him to play a more compact game, and that's where AK and Miguel can really open up and start to shine, right? I'm not going to try and dive too much into the whole Miguel and, you got to look out for this, you got to look out for that. There's just so much, right? Because you're basically starting at zero because you just don't have any Miguel experience or knowledge. Look up a punish guide, look up some common strings. Most importantly, look at what Daddy Thickums was using against you, right? First, just focus on what you're getting hit with and then worry about the rest of the character, right? Anyway, so this round I want to watch for a little bit because you do get one round off, and let's talk about why that happened, and how you can emulate those sorts of strategies in the future.
Can be launched by Miguel.
Got a good hit in, got some good damage in, should have been shoulder, but it is what it is. Optimize it where you can.
So when it comes to pressuring him,
what happens here, right? You start using jabs, you start using dick jab, you start disrupting his offense. Even if you don't know what a character is hitting you with, right? There are little things you can try here and there, right? Do a dick jab, disrupt their offensive pressure. Unless they have like built-in auto parry stances, unless they read that you're going to dick jab them on offense all the time, right? The layer 1 is going to be the opponent is pressuring you and going to press a button in your face, and you're going to go dick jab, right? That's layer 1. Then when you get to layer 2, when they read you're going to go for a dick jab, they'll start doing hop kicks and stuff, and then you can worry about that later. But just remember, you have very easy tools to disrupt pressure. And I'm not talking about just panic moves like back 1+4 or hop kick. I'm talking about your jab and your dick jab. Maybe sometimes down forward one, depending on how they're approaching you, right? Super fast, super disruptive, and an opponent who just tries to constantly take their turn, knowledge check you, or take on a lot or put on a lot of pressure, they're going to get hit with those, right? And yes, it's not crazy amounts of advantage, right? So, oh, why does it roll back so far? I wish it was like 5 seconds of YouTube.
When it comes to pressuring him, you have to rely more on
right here, right? Not a huge amount of advantage, but you are +6. And the Miguel, he's not going to backdash right away. He's going to block, right? Maybe he'll try to backdash at +6. I don't think he's going to backdash your throw attempt, but he's going to block right away. And you can use that opportunity, right? Because think about it. An opponent who's just trying to challenge and rush you down, he's going to go, oh, I got hit with the dick jab. Well, maybe he's just panicking and got lucky, right? You need to lull them into a false sense of security, right? Disrupt their offense with your faster tools and immediately use that. You have to be very quick, right? You have to use that advantage quickly before they can catch some breathing room and start resetting their offensive pressure, especially if it's a character you don't know what's going on, right? So you disrupt them a little bit. You weren't able to really capitalize on it, but now the Miguel is thinking maybe a little bit like, oh shit, right, he has dick jab. I should watch out for that, right? So what happens? He starts... Oh, he just starts pressing buttons on you. No, okay, this one... Okay, so this stuff, right? All this whiffing in your face and stuff. Does he whiff here? That time you were unfortunately backdashing. Here you were sidestepping, but then you backdash. And I felt like you were too antsy with the movement. This is something, how do people whiff punish consistently? How do they really get to like the whiff punishing? And that's going to just come with time and practice. Like once you know what to look for, instead of overcommitting to a sidestep and then backdash, you'll know like, okay, let me sidestep here and then see what he does. And then you'll be able to confirm the whiff into a whiff punish. That's just, you got to practice. There's not much to say about that. But here you're trying, okay, so now you're trying to put on some pressure. You're not just letting him press buttons in your face, which is good. Okay, here is a problem though. Okay, so get to the wall, smacks you to the wall, smacks you to the wall, and then you sidestep away from the wall, sweet, and then you sidestep towards the wall, and now look at where you're at, right? Now look at where look at where you've ended up. Regardless of character matchup knowledge, certain generic like truths will always apply, right? 90% of the time, if you're facing a character in Tekken 7, you do not want to backdash to the wall, right? So it doesn't matter if you don't know the character or not, just you got to remind yourself that there are certain, I don't want to say truths, right? But certain principles to follow. For example, if your back is to the wall, get out of there, right? Doesn't matter what character, even the shittiest character with shitty wall combos or shitty wall pressure is still a lot more annoying at the wall than they are in elsewhere, right? Most of the time. Regardless of the character, your back to the wall is not where you want to be. So be mindful of your movement. Maybe you were panicking here, maybe you were frustrated, just getting swarmed by the Miguel. That shit happens, right? There's not much to really be done there, but you have to remind yourself of these things. Like, okay, I'm getting knowledge check, this fucking sucks, but I'm not going to back or sidestep into the wall, right? No punish, that's just something you got to practice and remember what to look out for. Oh, actually, you immediately... Twitch always goes back too far. Backdash to the wall, should use that to sidestep, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he did a parry. Is that guaranteed after that? You'd have to lab. This is something you'd have to lab out. I don't know what that move is on block. I don't really know Miguel. Again. Okay, so even without just like Miguel stuff, right? Look at how linear you are, right? I'm basically watching a 2D game, right? Why are you backdashing back and forth? Why are you not sidestepping to reposition yourself so that the Miguel is facing the wall, right? And the Miguel may pick up on this quickly and he'll start sidestepping, right? But as you both sidestep, right, as you start doing sidestep right, as he starts doing sidestep left, as you both sidestep towards the background, right? You get closer, which means, you know, he's closer to you. You can start poking him down. You can start doing throws, right? But you can't be doing this back and forth and just doing nothing. Now he just gets to run in at you. You're just slowly getting pushed to the wall. It didn't matter there, right? Oh, actually, maybe you don't get one. Oh, I thought you did. I'm an idiot. But anyway, right? Good throw. I don't know about backing off to give up pressure that easily. Okay. Let's analyze that real quick, right? I am not a fan of Armor King's ground throws, right? I just think they're just never really worth it. Even the one at the wall that people are like, oh, dude, you can do back one too. Whoa! It's like, okay. Or you could just do usual Oki, right? Just press your ground hitting plus on block mid, right? You could do 9 million other things, and then you'll do a gimmicky throw break? Why? I just don't think that mix-up's in your favor, right? So instead of going for the ground throw attempt here, when you see that he's just staring at the ground, just do down 3, right? Down 3 hits grounded. 90% sure it does. 90% sure. Down 4 may also work, but just do down 3. If you're not certain, if you're not sure, stick at this distance and press down 3 plus 4, right? Hit him while he's on the ground, but at a safe distance. It doesn't matter that down 3 plus 4 is launch punishable because he's on the ground. It doesn't matter that it's -5 on hit because he's on the ground. The on hit will push him away, and you won't have to worry about like, oh god, I did down 3 plus 4 and now I'm -5, right? So experiment with your options on Oki here. I think you're using too much overcommitting options, right? And then he just gets to whiff punish you. Nice, good throw break. I don't know. I feel like you need to make something happen. You need some momentum going. I think if you're on the back foot, I think you just immediately, anytime you get frame advantage, just throw them, right? He's going to be mostly backdashing. Miguel's movement's really good. He's going to probably be mostly backdashing. You haven't really thrown him a lot. He's just been able to backdash a lot of your throw attempts. He's not really conditioned to be like, oh, this is a guaranteed throw attempt. I need to start ducking, right? There's no reason to condition him with down forward 1 when you don't need to. Just start throwing him first, right? Give him a reason to duck. Or start doing CD1, right?
That down forward 1 just crushed the deck.
Alright, unfortunate. This one, okay, so I'll talk about this move for a little bit. It's just one of those annoying snake edges where I legit, like, it's, yeah, people are like, oh, it's reactable. Like, by the time you recognize that he's on the ground, the hitbox has already come out. I swear to God, it's like, he's like standing for 2 frames and then all of a sudden he's just on the ground. I don't know. That move's really annoying. Maybe it is truly reactable. I'm ancient, so I don't know, my reactions are shit, right? But just practice against it, practice against the Miguel. That's just something you gotta lab out and be on the lookout for, right? Or the moment you see Miguel duck, just be like, fuck it, he ducked, or he looks like he's ducking, hop kick, and call it a day.
Everything's fair and balanced. Do it again! Oh no, that time, no duck.
Again, okay, so he's pressing something that you should just know, even if you haven't played against Miguel, right? Huge sweeping low, right? That's like chunky damage, huge sound effect, most likely plus on hit, right? More than likely plus on hit. Only character that's really deceptive with his lows are like Falk, right? Where he's got some fancy low that has really crunchy sound effect, like really sharp, like a cracking a whip sound effect, but then he's like -3 or -5. All his lows kind of suck except for the one that's actually plus on hit, right? But you gotta get a sense for these things of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is probably plus on hit. And even if it is plus on hit, what did you press? 1 plus 2?
Do it again! Oh no, that.
Yeah, you pressed 1 plus 2 for some reason. Why? Again, down 4, jab, maybe down forward 1, dick jab, right? Always use your faster options to disrupt an opponent's pressure, to disrupt whatever the fuck they're doing, right? And then using that momentary disruption, either reposition yourself to get into a comfort zone or go for offense because you got the disruption on them and you're messing with their timing, right? Eventually you do have to adjust to the next level and be like, okay, he's gonna think I'm gonna do dick jab, so I'm not going to, and I'll do something else, right? But you have to get there first. You have to actually establish that you're willing to challenge him on his offense, so that way he doesn't feel comfortable in pressing his offense like he usually will, right? Gotta remember that.
Again, but it comes to trade here, more beneficial for
Oh, unfortunate. Never mind. I felt bad.
Now on set point.
A lot of missed punishes.
Anyhow,
Punishes, but opportunity
yeah, he's just kind of got the momentum. You're uncertain on defense because lack of knowledge, which is unfortunate. Right here, this is what I'm talking about, right?
With momentum.
Not just punishes, but opportunities also. But the hop kick, tried and true, and Daddy Thankums is.
Got to the wall immediately on hit. This is so. I think at the start for AK, King, any of the characters of the full throw game, the moment you get that momentary frame advantage, throw them right at the start. Again, we're talking about layer 1 here. Layer 1, you got some decent frame advantage, especially a singular jab on hit. You're +8, right? That's a lot, right? That's actually where real offense can get started. Just throw them. Just immediately throw them. Maybe don't do giant swing because that's too predictable. I don't look at hands when I break throws. I just kind of like guess and it works out. Mainly because 99.95% of fucking King players, if their back is to the wall, they're like, it's like they're born with this instinct of like, oh, my back is to the wall, time to do giant swing, right? I don't understand why they do that, right? And then I just go, oh, he threw me. I don't know what the break is. I didn't see the hands. I'm just gonna press 1, and then I break the throw because it was fucking giant swing. And now their back is still to the wall. So maybe don't do giant swing, but start throwing your opponent, right? If you can't defend against it, just start doing really quick offense and overwhelm him. Make him second guess his offensive timings. The more time he spends hesitating on his offense, the less time you have to guess and actually defend, right? You have to start creating hesitation in your opponent. And even if you get hit, maybe you get counter hit, maybe he's like, oh, you're challenging at the wrong time. You can clean that up with knowledge, right? But at the start in this situation where you don't know what to do, you just kind of need to experiment and see what sticks, right? You just got to go, okay, well, I don't know what's going on here. I'm just going to jab or dick jab or do something, try and get something started, right?
Very confident here.
And now he just kind of gets to smother you with all. Nice. Does he break it? He breaks it. I don't know if you're trying to do instant shining wizard there. I don't know what's going on there, but obviously don't use generic throws.
Nice
But
break out of the
whatever.
suplex.
Yeah, see, again, he's not standing, right? This is like your 5th or 6th time of like you got some plus frames into something and then you just do a high mid or you do a mid and he's just never ducking, right? So your opponent's not at that level yet. Your opponent's still at the level of like, oh, my opponent hit me, I gotta block. And the Kings, when they go, wow, you're blocking against me, nice, have a throw, right?
2-1.
That move was just really good for just two
Oh.
ones, dude.
Unfortunate. Just gotta practice.
Punishes, that's the main problem here.
He's just running over.
Well, okay, so here, right, you should have done Wavu, right? You needed to bait him into something. Wait, do you do it? No, you don't. You just kind of try to dash block and dash forward him. Just Wavu, right? The best, having a Mishima crouch dash is fucking insane. I swear. Maybe this is a hot take. I don't really know, but having a Mishima crouch dash completely changes how you get to play neutral, right? You have a built-in movement approach tool. You can do anything from it. I'm not going to harp on it too much. You play the character, you should know these things. Wave dash in a little bit. Maybe not all the way in, right? Miguel does have like some big keep out, but like at this exact distance, wave dash to maybe like 2 character spaces, so or one dash forward and then hold back and then continue to inch your way forward. You have 30 seconds on the clock. That's plenty of time to kind of push him to the wall. But the reason you want to wave dash is that it looks way scarier than dash blocking, right? Way scarier. Your opponent's going to be more incentivized to press a button, which you can then either block and punish or ideally whiff punish with dark upper, right? And wave dash, you can still block at any point. You never have to commit to an option, right? I want to say it's very similar to dash blocking. Maybe there's a few extra frames where you're more vulnerable, where dash blocking is more instant. I don't know. Double check with the AK Discord. but you need to use your more threatening options, your more unique ways of approach in order to get something from the opponent, make them react. Someone who sees a character dashing at them, right, when they have such a huge life lead, they're going to go, he's just closing the distance. I don't really feel scared about this. They're not going to press anything. Someone who's wave dashing at them, right, you'll be like, oh shit, what if he goes for a mix-up? Even Armor King, without the Hell Sweep mix-up, he still has a pretty good mix-up option in chain throws, right, in the crouch dash throws, because it's a true guess. It's a 50-50. The opponent has no way, he can't look at the hands, right? You just grab him into a 50-50. Okay. Or you just don't do any of that, and you just kind of inch your way forward. And then once you're at this distance, maybe do CD1. Fuck it. You know, do your huge advancing lunging arm cross like clothesline and get some plus frames. Fuck it. And then that'll push him to the wall. Right? So when you have to chase down an opponent like this, you know, there's no, obviously you don't want to always chase down with CD1. Obviously you don't want to always wave dash. But the context is always going to change. But the only way you're going to get that feeling of like, oh, how do I know when to, you know, like when to CD1, when to wave dash? How do I get this timing down? You just got to practice it. Practice these options and actually develop that skill set.
Problem here.
He's just running away.
Unfortunately. Alright, quick breakdown. Neutral, punishment / matchup knowledge, combo / OK, personal opinion stuff. Neutral. You played well to a degree, right? I'm not saying this to like be mean, right? I'm not being ironic here. I genuinely think you played well because a lot of other opponents under this pressure, under basically getting clowned on stream, right, would start, you know, key charging, start doing a bunch of shitty strings, right? They just start throwing shit at the wall, right? You tried to maintain your composure, you tried to play Tekken to a degree, and even though you're kind of drowning in there, you're swimming without a life raft, you still tried, right? I think you should keep up that attitude. I think you should definitely keep up that kind of perspective approach to the match. But turn up the dial a little bit, right? Experiment. Don't just sit there and just wait for your opponent to do something. Try to start looking for these opportunities of recognizing, like, when can you start something? When can you not have to wait for your opponent and actually just kind of press in on it, right? Disrupting with jabs, disrupting with dick jab, wave dash approach to bait something out. CD1, an opponent just standing still, even from super far away, CD1's pretty fucking scary, right? And then, when they start ducking, they start flash ducking in anticipation of CD1, you just go, cool, forward 2, or cool, here's a mid, right? Maybe not forward 2-1, right? You don't use your heavy commitment options, but you have a lot of options that you can use, right? Wave dash into back 4, wave dash into down forward 4. A lot of options at your disposal. Other aspects of neutral. Stage awareness, please, right? Remember, it's a 3D game. So think about where you are in the stage. Don't tunnel vision, right? I trust me, I'm not saying is this like, oh, why can't you just be like me? I'm speaking from experience here because I've done the same shit you're doing, right? I tunnel vision, I start focusing too much on trying to get defense and trying to defend against my opponent. But the reality is, if I still did that, but instead, maybe, okay, so think about your brain as like an engine or a generator for power, right? And there's only so much power you can spend in a game of Tekken, right? The mental stack, right? So if I'm spending 100% of my brain power just focusing on trying to defend and turtle up, that might give me the advantage, right? But if I'm trying to be very defensive and reactive, my opponent can just push me to the wall, and next thing I know, one of my best options, you know, movement or just stage positioning, is gone because now my back is to the wall. I can't backdash. I can't just continue to like maybe sidestep. Maybe you're at a fucked up wall angle position where one of your sidesteps is locked off. It's really annoying, right? So instead, you got to go like maybe, okay, 70 to 80% of my brain power is going to be focusing on defense, and then 20%, you know, quick look at the stage, be like, oh, where am I in the stage awareness, and start moving, right? Start making sure to put yourself in a better position. And then as the game is developing, as you start moving, you quickly, you know, still use your brain power to focus on what the Miguel is doing, and you go, okay, I have to defend, wait a minute. He's moving with me because he doesn't want to go back to the wall. Okay, maybe I can do something here, right? Very quick judgments and adjustments that have to be made, but they're not going to start if you just kind of ignore your stage positioning. Those are the two main things I'd talk about on neutral. I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. A lot of it is just, you know, well, let's talk about it. Punishment / matchup knowledge. Watch a video on Miguel. Watch a video on punishment, right? if you need like, oh, I just need some tips, I need something. The Miguel T-Rex arms joke gets played up a bit, but it is true, right? His arms just don't have that much range. He has a lot of powerful options, right? He's got a homing back one, he's got savage back one. That shit is really fucking annoying. But how think about it. How do you make Miguel do back one? How do you make him do back one and then you can backdash? You start disrupting him. You start focusing on start attacking him with pressure. Start going, I'm going to disrupt your pressure here. I'm going to pressure you here, and then you'll start doing back one, or you start doing savage back one, right? Now, though they are pretty annoying to whiff punish, so don't expect to launch back one all the time, but you'll see him whiff and you go, okay, I can use this as an opportunity for a low poke, for a throw, for repositioning, etc., etc., etc. Don't let him kick you around too much. Start focusing and making him use his panic tools. This dude is using power crushes like nobody's business, right? So you need to make sure, like, okay, how the fuck do I beat a power crush? You either block and punish, because most mid power crushes are punishable, or here's a revolutionary idea, you throw them, because power crushes suck against throws, right? Crazy. It can be kind of tricky, right? Some of the faster power crushes, but just you got to know your options and you got to implement them. A lot of it is just you got to learn how to fight this character, and then the first step is just doing your homework, right? Other aspects of punishment such matchup knowledge. I just don't think you're there yet. I think you need to, really focus on the gimmicks first, get the gimmicks out of the way, practice against them, and then develop like a generic knowledge base where it's like, okay, let's say Miguel has 20 gimmicks, right? Just hypothetically. Let's say you only do well against 10 of them. That's still 50%, right? That still gives you a 50-50 shot, right? I mean, this analogy is falling apart, but you get what I'm saying, right? You're currently at 0% against Miguel. You have no idea what the fuck you're doing. And again, you might have missed the whole fucking essay I wrote in Tekken chat because it was randomly throughout the day. But you don't have to be perfect against every character, right? You don't have to like, oh, I know everything about Miguel. I know the perfect punishes. I know every option select. You just need to do well against this character to a relative degree. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be better than the guy you're playing, right? And so focus on what the guy you're playing, what is he doing, what moves does he like to do, what options does he like to do, what does he not do, right? You're facing someone who at every situation that you had plus frames just stand blocked, right? Because he was never scared of any throws. So you look at that and go, nice, I'm going to throw you. Okay. Combos / Oki. Optimize your combos, even guaranteed hits on stuff like CD4, even if it was an accident. Let the muscle memory take over, right? Combos, I think, were fine for the most part. You got the low parry combo, I think, pretty well, so that's all fine. Oki, I already talked about Oki, right? Explore your other ground hitting options. Why the fuck are you doing a ground throw, right? If you're two backdashes away, why are you gonna dash up, give your opponent time to get up, and then ground throw them, right? You have a plethora of ground hitting options at varying ranges. Experiment what they are and learn what to use in what context. Just don't use ground throws. I don't know, man. I'm a hater on those ground throws. If you want to keep using them, hey, more power to you. Punishment / matchup knowledge, combo / Oki. Personal opinion stuff. Options that I think are neat, but your mileage may vary. Use forward for neutral 2. Right? Yeah, I get it. Miguel can launch it. Who cares? It's an unseeable low. It's an unseeable low counter hit launcher against a guy with T-Rex arms and a bunch of highs, right? You need to make him... Think about it. Like, you need to make this guy duck. Your mids just aren't doing anything. He has no reason to duck you. Your throws are relatively predictable timings or just really bad ranges when you're throwing him, right? Use forward for neutral 2. It's very easy to start offense that way, right? Oh, look, I'm +7. You can't backdash. You can't sidestep. Throw time, right? What other things? There's a lot more, I guess. Like, talked about using wave dashes, talked about using your ground handling options. You gotta experiment more with jabs as a disruption tool, and then quickly using your plus frames to maximize their advantage, right? If you get a jab off and then you just let the plus frames go away without really starting any offense, all you did was get 10 damage, right? Actually, is it even 10 damage? It's maybe less. Because jabs are like, what, 7 damage? Frame AK1. 7 damage, right? That's nothing, right? But if you're not maximizing it by getting that +8 and using that advantage into something, you know, what are you doing? Even on block, people are like, oh, +1's not that much. It's still more than 0. It's still more than -1. The world of difference between -1 and +1 is huge, right? Like, I get it, +1's not a lot, but people, like, I don't know. I don't understand that. This is gonna be my hot take moment, right? But like, people are like, oh, +1's not a lot. I think that's just defeatist. Like, you literally have positive frame advantage on a 10 frame, right? Jab that's like the fastest thing in the game, right? They are very critical to starting offense, but if you don't do anything with them, you're not getting any offense started, then it's useless, right? Why would you do that? So experiment more with your jabs. I feel like you're not maximizing them enough. Ask Jamie, ask other people in the Discord how they like to use jabs, or just watch Jamie's footage. It's usually fine. Or watch JDCR, or There's a Set with Me. Watch how they use jabs, right? And start incorporating that into your gameplay. All right, man, that's going to be it for me. I actually talked a little more than I thought I would. Hey, man, I hope it didn't sound too harsh. I'm not speaking from a place of, like, how fucking dare you play this game. It's more about, hey, man, here's what I'm seeing. Here's my 2 cents on it. If I get animated or if I get a little, you know, crazy, it's just I'm passionate about Tekken because I'm a nerd and I just like Tekken. If you have any questions, let us know. Feel free to ask in the Discord. I promise, even though Tekken chat is what it is, I promise they do actually talk about Tekken sometimes. All right, man. Stay safe. Have a good one.